I used to just wrestle with my old Apple Watch. It died every single day, all the time. Sometimes it would die mid workout or midday, and I'd have to deal with not having a watch and not being able to tell the time. Annoying, right? And not with the Instinct 3. I've got heart rate, I've got sleep, I've got calorie data that actually help me level up, and I don't have to babysit the charger. So stick around. Let's dive into this tank like build and how it's prepping me for a 5K and how I use it in my daily life as a marketer in the agricultural field. Let's get into it. So starting off, I wanted to talk about the design and the durability. This thing is built like a tank. Out of the box, this thing it feels solid. It's about 45 millimeter wide. There are other options, but I've chosen the 45 millimeter wide, about 14.5 millimeters thick, and only weighs about 52 grams. So it's comfy for all day wear. The only downside is that the stock silicone strap that it comes with, it's decent. But personally, I am not a fan of the silicone straps, so I am actually investing in swapping it out for a nylon one, which is way softer for wearing it when you go to sleep and also just all-day comfort. The great thing about it is Garmin provides alternate strap styles on their website. So if you go to Garmin.com, you'll see you go to the Garmin Instinct 3 and it actually can tailor and filter out the options specifically for the Garmin Instinct 3. So get in there, and if you don't like the stock silicone strap, it's okay, there's more. And it's built, man, this thing is built rugged. It's got a fiber reinforced case. It's got a fiber reinforced polymer case and bezel paired with a chemically strengthened glass, and it is not scratched at the slightest. I've always been worried with my Apple Watch about it breaking on me. When I wear it, I just felt like it was fragile. I actually used to, when I worked in embroidery at an embroidery shop, a promotional product shop, I would actually buy cases for the Apple Watch, and I would wear those because I was so afraid of it scratching. In fact, right after I bought my Apple Watch, I rubbed up against something and it got a massive scratch across the front. Drove me nuts forever, and it was too expensive to fix, which was annoying. But this Garmin hasn't scratched with anything, and I've put it through some brutal beatings. I work out in this thing, I go on the fields, and I work in the agricultural industry with this thing. This thing has held up, and it still looks pristine. I haven't seen a single scratch on it. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing it right. And it's just been awesome. And it has buttons instead of a touchscreen. Now, the benefit of that is that with buttons instead of a touchscreen, there's pros and cons. The pros being you don't scratch up your glass with your fingers, having to constantly touch it. And also, when you're out there working and your fingers are full of crap, or you've got mud, you've got gloves on, and you're trying to, feel around on your watch, you just can't do it. You can't get around. And the buttons have been fantastic for that. The only downside is that if dirt gets in the buttons, obviously it's going to lock those up. But I haven't had that issue one single bit, nor have I ever heard of anybody having that issue. And if you have, let me know. I'd like to hear about it. And it's just taking a beating. The buttons are great. I can very easily see the screen with its 1.1 inch AMOLED display. Now, there is another option on the Solar Edition that provides a more monochromatic scheme, and that version specifically is way better in sunlight, but I personally prefer a more colored, more modern feel, and so I chose the AMOLED version. And it's bright. I never have trouble seeing it in the daylight, and it's just wonderful. It has not had any issues. And again, not having the touch screen means I don't have accidental swipes. I don't have, smudges all over my screen, and it just does what I need it to do perfectly. I also personally really enjoy the more technical, more traditional feel of this watch versus a Apple Watch. Personally, I am a watch collector, and my favorite watch that I used before I purchased this one was the Bear Grylls Mountain Luminox. And that thing was a tank as well with its rubber strap, and it is just, this compares to that so cleanly. It has no issues. I have no problem saying that it is just as good. With it's like taking a Luminox and adding the smartwatch features to it to make it the ultimate perfect watch for what I do. And one of my absolute favorite features is the flashlight feature on this watch. So this watch actually has a built-in flashlight that allows you to adjust the intensity, as well as a red light feature for if it's nighttime and you want something a little less harsh on your eyes. I swear by this flashlight. Having a flashlight handy on your wrist has been a game changer. Getting around, seeing in the dark, getting to my car in the morning when it's pitch black outside, taking out the trash in the middle of the night, whatever, finding my way around the house without turning on any lights. If I'm working on something, I can use the flashlight right there to see. It is just a game changer. I don't have to hunt around for a flashlight. I don't have to, worry about not being able to see. I can just flick this flashlight on and do what I needed to do. And having that red light feature to be less harsh on your eyes is wonderful. This is just a wonderful addition and a very considerate feature that I think Garmin has really, really done well with. Now, going back to the battery life, this is the kicker. The AMOLED version lasts about 18 days on a full charge. The other one, the Solar Edition, lasts about 28 days. If you're in the sun a lot, this is no big deal. And when I purchased these, I actually had a really hard time debating between which one to pick because I am out in the sun a lot. But honestly, my opinion, I never have to charge this thing, hardly at all. Just to put it in perspective, I've had it for 2 months now, and I've only charged it twice. And it only takes about 5 to 10 minutes to get it back to a full charge. No time at all. This thing is wonderful. So if you're worried about the battery life, don't. Even with an AMOLED version that lasts less time than the solar version, I never have any issues. And with the solar version, there is the possibility of it actually having an unlimited battery life. Do your research. There are some things that you have to adjust and put in place in order for that to be the case, but it's possible with that one. And it's just great. It is just great. And like I mentioned earlier, my Apple Watch, I had to charge it every single night, and just the battery would just suck tremendously. And I don't have that issue with this watch. I never have to worry about it, especially when I'm out in the field. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I need my watch on. I need to know where I'm at, what time it is, everything. I need the capability of having that watch, and it dying on me is a bad thing. And not having to worry about that has been a breath of fresh air. So moving on to some of the fitness tracking. I personally am preparing for a 5K, and so that is the core purpose of why I'm using this watch. It's why I specifically chose this watch. Now, for my strength training, I actually use the strength training preset built into the watch. It has other workouts that you can select and a preset, a list of presets on this watch. Now, I'm not utilizing the maximum capabilities of this Instinct 3 watch, but for what I'm using it for, it is amazing. So the strength training preset specifically, it tracks reps, heart rate zones, calories burned, anything you need to keep an eye on, it tracks. And post-workout, I can actually go into the Garmin Connect app and I can adjust the weights, the reps, the time. I can customize and build the workout that it tracked for me on the Garmin Connect app. So if you're worried about, what if it gets it wrong? Don't worry, you can change all of that. And when I export the workout into a graphic, it actually shows me what muscle groups I worked out, which is awesome feature. I mean, it's just so interactive and so in-depth in strength training, and it's just phenomenal. It balances out my routine, and I live off of the strength training app every single strength training workout. And if you follow me on social media, you will see that Garmin posts of my workout if you want an idea of how that looks. Another one of my major uses is running. Running is my main gig right now. I am training for a 5K, and that is the core purpose of purchasing this watch specifically. Now, I toggle between a run setting and the treadmill run setting modes. Now, I have run into the issue that when I hit the run mode on a treadmill, it did not track it at all. You have to use the treadmill run mode when you're using a treadmill because it has different settings in it that sync to a specific treadmill run. I've never had to run into that issue ever since I've started, or I never had that issue again when I changed it to treadmill runs. So it's perfect. The runs feature is perfect outdoors with tracking your pace, your distance, your heart rate, all just right here on one screen. And your treadmill run is, of course, going to sync better indoors when you're on a treadmill, and it'll break down your cadence, it'll break down your stride length. This thing is extremely detailed. It goes in depth. It shows you ground contact time. It shows you every feature and metric that matters to you to keep track of your runs. And what I actually do is after I do a run, I take those metrics and I put them into an AI and I perform a gait analysis. And so having the Garmin tracking every little thing is just a game changer. It has been phenomenal in helping me improve my running and improve my strength training. Now, running and strength training is not the only thing that this thing can do. It is a Swiss Army knife of watches. It's preloaded with activities like golf, cycling, hiking. There's also dive watches. I have actually personally set up a workout, which you can customize your workouts as well as the data screens on the watch. You can actually change what you see on each preset, and this does involve the already preloaded presets. You can change those screens as well. So what I did was, since I do a sauna session I do 20 minutes of a sauna session after every workout, I created a workout in the Garmin Connect app, I created a preset in the Garmin Connect app labeled sauna. And what I have on my screen is I have time, I have temperature, and I have heart rate. And that's all I need to know when I'm in the sauna. And it tracks all of that for me, and then it syncs. And so it is just phenomenal. And it's super handy for recovery. It shows you everything that you need to know. And as well, on top of that, for high intensity interval training sessions, HIIT training sessions, I actually can build out the entire workout in the Garmin Connect app. For example, when I did my HIIT training, I put in there the time frames that I wanted to run in each zone of each heart rate zone category. And it was just an amazing feature, and it allowed me to create my workout, create my HIIT training workout, and follow that HIIT training workout to the letter. And it buzzed me when my pace was too much. It buzzed me when my time was up. It stayed on top of everything. And so this thing is just phenomenal. But the real magic is the training and the coaching features of this watch. This watch has a built-in coach on your wrist that tailors workouts for you. So for example, when I'm out on a run, if I press the run preset feature, it actually looks at my stress, my training throughout the week, my sleep and everything, and suggests for me the type of run that I should do that day. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. But I've never had a watch that suggested to me, hey, you should focus on this today based on everything that you've done over the week. And not even just that, but you can actually search and save events in your watch to coach and train for. It has coaches on the website, on the watch, that will actually prepare you and train you for a specific race that you can load into your watch and follow. For example, I've just recently signed up for the United Supermarkets Lubbock Marathon 5K race. I can find that specific race and download the course, download the features, and my watch will train me for that race all from my wrist. It is a game changing feature for a beginner runner who doesn't know everything about running and is preparing for this race. It is just awesome. Completely awesome. Another cool feature is actually training readiness. So it will gather all the metrics and it will tell you what it estimates, how prepared it estimates you are for your race. For example, this is why I wear it to sleep. This is why I keep it on pretty much 24/7. I want it to get as much information as it can to give me the most accurate readings possible. And by doing that, it actually is putting me in a category of you're very prepared, you're not prepared, you need to work, you need to rest a little bit more, you need to recover, or hey, you're pretty prepared, maybe you can push a little harder this week. It tells you exactly what you need to do. On top of that, it actually has a race predictor. If you go into the Garmin Connect app, it will actually tell you, based on everything that you've given it so far, the times that it predicts you will hit for each category of race. 5K, sub this. 10K, half marathon, marathon. It actually predicts the time that it thinks that you will hit on those races, which is amazing when it comes to building out your goals and adjusting your goals to help prepare you for a lower race. If you're sitting there and you think that you're ready and it tells you that it's predicting you're going to hit a sub 4-hour marathon and your goal is a sub 2-hour marathon, obviously you need to work harder. So an amazing feature that I've never had in a watch before that has been a game changer for preparing me for my 5K training. Now, the fitness and stuff is not the only thing that it can do. It can actually pair with other Garmin products to provide more accurate readings. For example, Garmin creates a heart rate monitor, which I am currently in the process of investing in. It can connect with that heart rate monitor and give you the readings from the heart rate monitor and sync it to your watch. Now, there are other products for different outdoor activities, and Garmin is all about outdoor enthusiasts and really builds and creates stuff for hunters and hikers and things like that, divers and things like that. If you're an outdoor enthusiast, this watch has the ability to keep everything in line for you. And it's just phenomenal. And the GPS capabilities of this watch are bar none the best in the industry. Garmin started out creating GPSs for vehicles. That was their bread and butter. And they still, to this day, have the best GPS features available. With my Apple Watch, it also has GPS abilities, but it's not as reliable. If I'm out in the middle of nowhere getting footage for on a field, I'm going to need a GPS that's going to be able to work whether I have service or not. And this watch has delivered countless times, and it has just been phenomenal. No other GPS capabilities, in my opinion, compare to this one. And you can also use it to set a starting point when you park in a parking lot, and then you can find your way back to your vehicle. There's so many practical uses of this watch and the GPS capabilities. They've got it dialed in, and I cannot praise it enough. And another, it also gives me my standard smartwatch features, such as notifications that will ping on my wrist, and I can also take calls. Now, the one downside is because I am an iPhone user, I cannot actually text on this watch, but if you are an Android user, actually does give you that ability. You can message on this watch for Androids. And then it also has, Garmin Pay, which allows me to tap and pay straight from my watch, just like an Apple Watch does. And it's not as app heavy as, an Apple Watch or some of the other smartwatches, but it's got the essentials. And if all you're using it for is just a generic traditional watch that has some smartwatch capabilities and mostly using it for outdoor and fitness activities, then this thing is the absolute king. If you're looking for more of a, smartwatch, less at fitness, less outdoors, more smartwatch, maybe you should lean towards more of a Samsung or a Apple Watch. Now, if you live hard and you move fast, it's rugged enough for the outdoors, it's smart enough for fitness, and with a battery life that just doesn't give up, this thing it's my second brain. It keeps me on track. It does everything that I need it to do without me having to think about it, and it keeps me going without slowing down. I have owned an Apple Watch for a long time, and I have completely made a switch. This thing has 100% convinced me that it's better. And I cannot praise it enough. And I haven't even fully dived into the full potential of the Garmin Instinct 3. It has so many neat tricks and features that I still would love to discover. Now, Garmin actually has more than just this watch. This is kind of a sweet spot for me for just general fitness, training for a race, and then also a traditional but still tactical feel. It fit all those boxes for me. But if you're a triathlete and you're looking for something that's more geared towards your triathlon training, they have watches. Garmin has a watch for you. And there are other models out there that are more dialed in for what you're doing, as well as military use. I know that the military does use Garmin's, and they have actual tactical version watches that have stealth mode involved and 100% dialed in for missions. And it is just a phenomenal watch. It's an all-arounder, and they have dive watches for divers and things like, and I can go deeper and I can spend the rest of the video talking about it. But whatever you do, whatever activity you're into, whatever you go out and enjoy, this watch has what you need. And if this one doesn't, there is one that does. Garmin has just hit the nail on the head as far as staying competitive and staying in the game. Now, I will have a link down in the description below. None of this is sponsored. All of this is just pure opinions and thoughts based on my personal use and review of this specific watch. Head over to Garmin's website, check out their other stuff, see what they're all about, and if it fits you, if it's your vibe, if you're an outdoor enthusiast, if you're a hiker, if you're a hunter, if you're a fitness enthusiast, I highly encourage, go get yourself a watch, go get yourself a Garmin, and see what it can do for you. Stay motivated, stay encouraged, never stop chasing greatness, and chase every mile. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening. Remember, in the pursuit of your dreams, hesitation is the enemy. Slam your foot on the gas and go full speed towards your vision. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep striving, stay inspired and motivated, and never stop chasing greatness.